This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of December 14th, 2020. We have arrived at a portal. The portal has been open and beckoning us, and this week we are catapulted through it, and next week the portal slams shut. What's going on now is that profound, that monumental, that definitive. We are at the dividing line between the before times and the after times. And a lot of choices are being made about the nature of the reality in which you or anyone else is going to reside as we go through. A lot is happening this week and next week. Much of it is a culmination of the incredible process of deconstruction that we've been going through all year and actually for years earlier than that. Deconstruction, collapse, foundational failure, institutional collapse, institutional failure, reworking, revamping, winnowing out rot, winnowing out toxicity, winnowing out incredible irrational fears and drivers and corruption as a number of bodies have plowed through the end degrees of Capricorn. And now, this week, a number of gears shift permanently that knock us into a complete different way of being. This week starts with a new moon, a supercharged new moon in the sign of Sagittarius, which has a tremendous amount to do with what we believe. And this new moon is taking place on the South Node, which is what we're moving away from. So while it is a beginning, it has an enormous streak of clearing out the past. Mercury is in the middle of the activity, which rules our minds, our information flow. This adds to the noise of this, and there's a massive clearing out and new way of what we think and how we look at the world, with a huge emphasis on your thoughts directly leading to the way you experience reality. Now, a lot of people will tell you this is manifesting, but it's not along the level of the scene that I keep coming back to from the movie The Secret, of a woman standing in front of a shop window and looking at this beautiful, elaborate necklace and thinking and thinking and thinking, and blam, it appears on her. It's not the way this works. That's not what this is about. There is a huge streak of magical thinking in the mix, of unreality, of dual realities, of narratives being pushed and pushed and pushed that some people are calling madness, that possibly have ulterior motives that are cloaked. Regardless, there are two very different ways of viewing the same set of facts smack in the middle of this eclipse, and there's no coincidence cosmically that it occurs on the date that in the United States the Electoral College is set to vote. Now, taking it back to the personal ramifications is always beneficial, it's always empowering, and I encourage you to look at how your thinking has changed over the last year, over the last half year, how your beliefs have altered, how have you updated them, how have you revised them. This week has, despite the chaos, despite the daily death counts, this week has multiple markers for rekindling the fire within each of us, rekindling joy and reasons for living. To reflect this, I changed the cover photo in my Astro-Insight Lounge group on Facebook to a sign that I saw in the window of a shop in Greenwich Village in New York City. It is a wonderful life. Put that in your filter, see how you can actually experience daily beauty, daily wonder, daily joy, daily fun, because There's a lot going on right now that supports that. Venus, the ruler of everything we desire, and a planet that really encourages indulgence, is in an opportunity aspect with the planet that really encourages indulgence and boundlessness, Jupiter. So have at it. Have your own Zoom parties. Look for fun. Go outside. Talk to people. There is also a very strong impetus to put your words into action, to put your thoughts into action, with Mercury, the communication god, in a flow to Mars, the ruler of our drive and action. Now, I will warn that this is going to translate for a segment of humanity into a lot of angry words and angry action, but you don't have to be one of those people. There are also markers here this week for stabilizing, for committing, for being responsible, for bringing a lot to ground and into being, with Venus, again, the ruler of all we value and desire, in an opportunity aspect to Saturn, the planet of adulting. Look for structure, look for openings to bring structure and stability. They do exist. And this is only getting us to Wednesday, at which point the social vibe changes into fun and adventure and optimism and actual good cheer, with Venus moving into the sign of Sagittarius. She's previously had a handshake with Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, and now she is completely under his command. This is party time. I know. How is this possible? Well, be inventive. Party time, fun time, celebration time, good cheer. And we have 3 more shifts in atmosphere. 2 of them are major. 2 of them are epochal. 2 of them are the beginning of what the internet has been ballyhooing like crazy about, the Great Conjunction. Saturn, which rules order, structure, institutions, commitment, responsibility, again, the planet of adulting, moves into Aquarius on the 17th. Aquarius is the sign of the future. It is progressive. It looks at humanity as a whole. It's also got a scientific and objective distancing streak to it. Saturn is the traditional ruler of this sign, and his shift is going to feel somewhat comfortable, natural, like the way it should be. And within 2 days, Jupiter, the guy that expands everything he touches, follows into Aquarius, increasing our awareness of networks, of friends, of technology, possibly of interconnectedness, of the new way of being. Something about social distancing is going to come back around with this, because that came into being as a concept when Saturn dipped into Aquarius 2/3 of the way through March of this year. And there's some resonance to the early 90s, early 91 to early 93, the last time Saturn was there. We'll be feeling the beginning of a new way of being, a new order that will not completely lock in until the solstice, when the sun makes a shift into the sign of Capricorn, and that's on the 21st. But before we get there, we have a blast of awareness of ourselves and our place in the world as the sun and Mercury fuse on the 19th. And on the 20th, Mercury moves into Capricorn, the sign of institutions, the sign where all of the old order deconstruction has been occurring all year long. Pay attention to your thinking and where your thoughts habitually go. You are underscoring the role that they play in your life and the beliefs that are associated with them, the more attention you give to them. And if you'd like to see visually how this plays out, it's a very strange movie from several years back called What the Bleep Do We Know that actually has fascinating animations of how we build neural pathways in our brain through repeated application of thoughts and emotions. And another film with a useful image for you is a now fairly old, splashy science fiction movie, Stargate, which involves a portal to a civilization not on this planet. In that film, it's possible to go back and forth through the Stargate. The Stargate we are passing through now is closing behind us. There is no return. It's important for that reason to monitor and clean up where your thoughts are going, what you're emphasizing, what you're underscoring. All the good cheer enhancing aspects of this week are encouraging you to look for the highest, most beneficial path and experience of new reality. Homing thought of the week: be the change you want to see. Song of the week: lots going on. I've got lots of songs. And yeah, they're old. Don't Stop Believing by Journey. A Whole New World from the Disney musical Aladdin. And going way back, the Bugs Bunny Show theme song. On with the show. This is it. And the image of the week, I have two. An aerial view of the Earth at night showing lights connecting into a massive grid. And the second being the Stargate portal. I have lots of extra resources for you free right now, and I will include links to all of them. One is a 15-minute talk on YouTube about exploring what goes on in your mind. Another is an article called Hit the Mute Button that gives strategies for emptying yourself out and for getting to know your own mind as opposed to whatever all this constant stimulation is putting into it. And my forecast for the Sagittarius new moon solar eclipse, which is posted at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and get a free Jupiter in Aquarius guide as a thank you for signing up, and watch my talk on the Gemini Sagittarius eclipses available in the shop. Sign up for my talk about the December solstice and how it lays the groundwork for all of 2021. Link on the top page for that. And of course, find out what this all means for you personally by booking a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years experience. I host lively conversation on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited in the group The Astro-Insight Lounge. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful for the people who are supporting my work there. And you should be grateful too, because they are keeping my regular Astro-Insight forecasts available to everyone without a paywall being imposed. I post on Instagram at @KABiehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel. Talk to you next week.